So I sold my Porsche 992. Oh, what have I done? Hey everybody, welcome to another video. My name's Steve, and if you're new to this channel, this is all about digging deeper on the cost of ownership. That was my Porsche 992 that I have just sold, and I'm going to run through this video with the reasons why I decided to do it and what it cost me for 18 months ownership. Now, if I do a quick recap, I bought that car new and I ordered it back in October 2019. The car arrived in March 2020. It came a little bit late. It was supposed to come at the beginning of that month and it didn't. It came sort of the middle. So with it being the UK, March 2020, I took delivery of that car a week before we actually locked down for a month. Now, I financed that car by putting quite a bit of money down at the front end, and that was basically because of the way I was forced to structure my finance and the monthly payments. Although I really preferred to have not done that, because it just meant that I was front loading paying down the depreciation on the car, or so I thought when I was actually placing the order. Over the period of the pandemic, in the last 18 months or so since I took delivery of that car, the second-hand market and also the delivery of new cars has been rather strange and rather different. Now, taking the finance out as I did expect some depreciation in the first 12 months on that car, but because of circumstances at the time of ownership, this car didn't actually seem to depreciate. New cars couldn't be delivered and the used car market was seeing a dry up of available models and people couldn't get their hands on them. So cars have been changing hands on the forecourt, new for old prices. Now, I originally discovered this to be the case back in March when I did my 12-month ownership review, and I went through what it has cost me to own the car from a depreciation and finance value, and also the running costs that went alongside it. Now, since that year point video, I have been checking back in and rechecking those trade values at the trade sellers online to just see what was happening with the price. As you'll know, if you've sold cars to any of these people or even done a quote with them, they tend to keep sending you update emails to tempt you to sell your car. Now, I was constantly getting emails every 1 to 2 weeks saying the price of your car has gone up. I did a recap video to see how much it had actually increased, wondering whether it was the right time to sell or not. Now, heart over head, I didn't want to get rid of this car. I loved this car. I would own another 992 in the future, but there comes a point where everybody has a price, and I reached a point where We Buy Any Car sent me another email saying the price on your car has gone up, and I didn't think it could go up any further, and I got a surprise when I saw that last email in the middle of this month, and I spent about a week deciding whether I actually wanted to part with the car. Whenever you get these emails, you often get a price, you take it up there, they'll find every mark on the car they can, and the computer marks it down appropriately based on the marks that they have discovered. My previous experience on this is that so many marks on the same bumper, it decides it needs a respray rather than it just needing some touch-ups, and they knock an equivalent value off in relevance to it. This generally at times has knocked cars down way past the price quoted on the email because they found more damage than I had notified them of when originally getting a quoted price. Now, usually when you go to trade places or you go and trade your car in at a dealership, they will be knocking off money at what they call trade value, and that is usually X percentage below what they want to sell it for in the forecourt, because that is their profit and built-in costs margin. I checked another website before I went to We Buy Any Car to go and see if their quote was really true, and they were quoting a lot less than We Buy Any Car, and I suspect at the time they had a specific buyer or a trade buyer that wanted these cars and was willing to pay close to the forecourt prices being offered on Porsche dealerships. So my head eventually ruled over my heart. I thought, let's go and check it out. Let's see how much they're going to knock off. I'm going to get there. They're going to knock £1,000 off of this, £1,000 off of that. And I'm going to end up going, no, I'm not selling. It's not worth it. Much to my despair, though, they actually offered me very close to the price that was on the email, and it was just too hard to refuse. And I'll explain why now. So when I bought my car, I got my car at the old price, not the current list price. And when I spec'd the car, it came out at £84,300. Obviously on top of that, I paid £1,280 road tax on that for the first year with a premium in the UK, so it brought the price up to closer to 85.5. Now I've run through the finance in this corner of the video, that details exactly what I put down and what my monthly payments were, including the length of the finance at 3 years. So when I put my money down on the car, the total amount came to £23,363, and £5,000 of that was my initial lodge deposit that was with the dealer until the car arrived. Again, within that cost is also a £55 registration fee to get the car on the road. So under the 18 months ownership, I paid another 17 payments at £462. Total for the year comes to £7,854. On top of that, the second year's road tax comes down to £475. I'll include that again because it's based on the value of the car and it's included in the cost. So that brings me a total of £31,692 for the ownership period of 18 months when it comes to cost of finance on that car. So that amount of money also includes all the interest I was paying against the loan, which also includes the static final payment that never changes in value but always includes interest every month. So when you come to sell the car, obviously you have to get a settlement figure, and that settlement figure for me, based on my finance, came in at £60,028. So what I was looking for really was, if I was selling the car, I needed to clear that balance at the finance company, which is VW Finance, and then I am looking for what is left in cash coming back to me. At the 12-month period in March, it was only coming in at prices around the £82,000 mark when I was checking the trade-in, so it wasn't really worth it. It was kind of like, I'm driving the car for free, I've lost no depreciation on it, it is only costing me the interest on the finance. Just keep driving it and enjoy the car, you own it. But as you know, if you watch the channel and you've seen the other videos on there, I did get to a point where that price increased again, getting closer to the £85,000 mark, and I was starting to wonder, is it time to cash out? Are they going to start delivering more cars from the factory? Am I riding the top of this wave as the depreciation's about to kick back in? Now, nobody has a crystal ball, nobody can tell you exactly when this is going to happen, but at this point, usually in a car's ownership, and what I was expecting was to be at least 10,000 down on the first year, somewhere into 5,000 plus on the second year. So I wasn't going to have very much value in the car at an 18-month mark. However, when I went and got this price and they actually confirmed it after checking the car, I had already worked out what would be the minimum I would take should I sell the car, and I was put on the spot and they beat it. All said and done, charges and a very little slight amount knocked off for some cosmetic damage, which you've seen because I did a paint chips video and they picked on that. I came out with £86,303 back. Once you pay off the settlement finance amount of £60,028, that cash out value to me comes to £26,275. Now, if you think back to what it cost me to get into that car in the first place at the £23,300 mark, I'm ending up with nearly £3,000 back on what I put in at the start, and I've got rid of the car. And all in, when it comes to the cost generated by what I've paid in interest on the finance, I'm actually only out of pocket £5,417 for that 18 months. I should have been out of pocket way more than that. I've effectively owned that car for 18 months at a cost of £5,500. So why was 86 a high enough price for me to sell? Well, it was more than what the car cost in the first place, including the first year's road tax when I bought it. The car was now 18 months old. In 6 months' time, I was going to be facing its first service at 2 years, and I was also probably going to be very close to needing 2 rear tyres. I've just come out with more money than what I put in the last time, which means I could just go straight down to the dealer now and order a new car, albeit I'll have to wait for it a little bit, and get a brand new car, new tyres, 2 years before another service, and likely go straight back into another finance agreement with the same or slightly lower monthly payment if I put all the money back in. So where do I go next? And I'm going to carry on and take you on that journey with me. Now, I don't really want to leave the Porsche brand. I love the cars. I'd love to try something else. But I've got a possible opportunity here to have a quick look around at the market and see what could I get new at a similar price and what could I get used. And I will go down that road and check it out in some videos and see what other people think and what your comments are. I've also got the ability to possibly change inside the Porsche range and get a different model. Now, I've already had the base Cayman, but I haven't had something like the GTS, and that car is fairly similar in performance to what I had, and it's also a little bit cheaper. On top of that, it is not the twin turbo, it is the 4 litre that comes out of the GT4. As well as exploring what could be bought new and used, I had a Porsche experience that came as part of my car ownership that got cancelled last year due to the pandemic. I have reorganised it this year to try out 2 of the models in the range just to see what I think about them. I'm not going to reveal what they are now, but I will hopefully cover that experience, and that is coming in October. So once I've done that, I'll also know probably whether I'm going to stick with the Porsches or not. So basically, I've got options and I shouldn't have had those options, so I need to explore them. So we'll continue the journey, we'll keep on top of it. I'm interested to know your thoughts about what I've just done selling my 992. Would you have done the same thing? What might you be interested in? What do you think I should look at? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.